Alright guys, this is lesson 3-4. Today we're going to be talking about tax, tip, commission, markup, and discount. These are all things that you're going to be dealing with in your day-to-day as you work with money. So your essential question is, how are percents applied to real-world situations? And how can I apply what I know about fractions, decimals, and percents to find change? So moving down to our first definition here, you see the word tax. A tax is a percentage that you pay on goods and services. Our next definition is tip. We tip waitresses and baristas and things like that when we go to Starbucks. A tip is an extra amount given to a worker for their services. Okay, our next definition is commission. A commission is our next definition. There are people who work on a commission. For example, people who sell cars, they often work for a commission. They get a percentage of the amount that they make based on a sell. Okay, our next two definitions kind of go together, markup and discount. A markup is when a seller is trying to make a profit. So they're going to sell an item for a percentage higher, versus a discount is something that is on sale. Basically, they're trying to get rid of an item for cheaper. So that would be a percentage taken off the price of an item. Alrighty, let's go ahead and try to do some examples. We're going to go ahead and start with tax. And for your first example, let's calculate the tax on a $10,000 item. So let's calculate an 8% sales tax on $10,000. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so I have some more space. I'm going to do two different methods to solve this. The first method is going to be our is of percent 100. And remember, that's part and whole percent 100. So our $10,000, that's the whole amount. And our 8%, let me change color here, I'll change it to red. Our 8 is going to go with the percent, and then the 100 always stays 100. And I'm trying to figure out what part 8% is of 10,000. So I'm going to go ahead and do my cross multiply. Let me change color. So I'm going to do 100 times x, and then the 10,000 times 8, which is 80,000. And then you take your calculator and you divide by 100. So 80,000 divided by 100 is 800. So that means I'm paying $800 extra for that $10,000 item. That is the tax I'm paying. So now the other way to do that is, it's a little bit simpler. It's the way most people calculate their tax. So let me draw a line here. The easiest way to calculate tax is all you have to do is take that 10,000 and then times it by 80%. But in order to do that, you need to convert that 80% into a decimal. So you're going to be timesing it by 0.80. So you'd go ahead and go onto your calculator and do 10,000 times 0.80, and you're going to get your $800. So that's kind of the simpler way that people do it. The problem is our Khan Academy is going to do a ton of mixing up. Like they're going to ask us find the whole or find the part. So we have to be able to do this method. But in reality, when we're dealing in life, most people just need this equation, this second equation here. All right, let's go ahead and move over to tip. Alrighty, let's move on over here. And let's calculate a 15% tip on $20. So let's say I went to a restaurant and I had a $20 bill and I decide I want to give this waitress a 15% tip. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to show you the is of percent 100 method, and then I'm going to show you the way that most people calculate tip just in day-to-day. So let's go ahead and do our, I'm going to say part whole percent 100 just because we're dealing with money now instead of is of. So part whole, percent 100, and let's go ahead and fill in the blanks. Is that $20 part of the bill, or is that $20 the whole bill? So the $20 would be the whole bill, so the 20 goes down at the bottom. I'm trying to calculate that part. I want to know how much tip I need to give her. And then the percent, I'll change color. The percent is 15, and then out of 100. So we go ahead and we cross multiply. 100 times x is 100x. 20 times 15 is 300. Then you go ahead and you do your algebra and you divide by 100 and you will get 3. So what does that mean? What that means is you're wanting to leave a $3 tip. So depending on what the Khan Academy is asking you, they're either going to say what is the tip, or they're going to say what is the total bill. If they just ask what is the tip, then the tip is just $3. However, if they ask what is the total bill, then the total bill would be $23. So now let's change color. Let's go ahead and calculate the way like your mom and dad just calculate tip. The way they're going to do that is they're going to say I have $20, and they're just going to multiply by 15%. Again, you're needing to change that 15% into a decimal, so that's 0.15. So you go to your calculator and you do 20 times 15, 20 times 0.15, which you will get 3. All right, we're doing pretty good. Let's move over to commission. Remember, commission is the percent extra that you make. So if you're making a big sale, a lot of times these salesmen will work on a commission. So let's say it's a big sale. Let's say that they're selling something that costs $100,000, and they're going to get a 5% commission on that $100,000. So Khan Academy is going to either ask you what is their commission or how much did they make, like what's their total paycheck. So let's go ahead and write the 100,000. So they're going to be selling something that costs $100,000, and I'm going to change to red here, and their commission is a 5% commission. So same thing. I'm going to do this both ways. We're going to do the is of percent 100, and then we're also going to do just the traditional calculation with a calculator. So the 100,000 would be the whole thing. That's how much they are selling the item for, and we're trying to figure out how much extra they're getting, that part they're getting. And our percent is our 5%, so that will go up there with the percent. And then 100, again, that 100 always goes on the bottom. So then we're going to cross multiply. So 100 times x, and then 5 times 100,000 would be 500,000. And then you would divide. You do your algebra here, you divide by 100. So our answer is $5,000 if you pump that into a calculator. So this person, if they sold this $100,000 thing, like let's say it's a house or something, and they sold it for $100,000, and they're working on commission, they're going to get an extra $5,000. And the question may ask just what's their commission, or the question may ask how much total did they get. All right, so let's change color. This is all pretty basic here. Again, the traditional way, if you were just going to use a calculator and not do this is of thing, all you would have to do is ask yourself what is 100,000 times 5%, and again you'd have to convert that 5%, so you would change it to 0.05, and you'd push that into your calculator. 100,000 times 0.05 is 5,000. So again, if it's just very basic and it's just asking you what is the commission, you can totally use this shortcut method. But the Khan Academy isn't so simple. The Khan Academy is sometimes going to give you just the commission. Sometimes it's going to give you the whole total sell with commission. And so you're going to have to also know how to use the part whole percent out of 100. All right, let's move over to markup. For our markup problem, This one is where the retail person is going to buy something at a wholesale price and then they're going to sell it for an increased percentage. So let's say for this problem that a person buys an item for $500 and they want to sell it for a 50% markup. So same thing, we're going to do our part whole percent 100. So let's go ahead and write our part whole percent 100. And then you need to ask yourself, is that $500 the original price, the whole price, or is that $500 the part that is being, that like percentage that's marked up? So the $500 is obviously the original price, and we're trying to figure out how much it's being marked up. The percent is going up, it's going up 50%, and again, 100 literally always stays 100. You don't change it. So now you're going to use your cross multiply method. 100 times x is 100x. 500 times 50 is 25, 3 zeros. You take your calculator and you divide by 100. And you get $250. Did I do that right? Yeah, I did that right. So the question, so that 250 is the part that is being marked up. Like that's how much it's going to be added to the original price. So if they ask you how much is he going to increase the price, he's going to increase it for 250. So he will sell it for a total of $750. So depending on what they're asking, you have to be able to interpret what this answer means. Okay, so now let's show you the easy method. The easy method, all you would have to do is do your 500 times 50%. Again, you convert that 50% to 0.50, and that's where you'll get your $250. So again, that $250 is how much he's going to add to that original $500. The $250 is the markup price. If it asks for total price, the total price that he would sell it for is $750. So you're going to have to be able to interpret and figure out what they're asking for. All right, our last question over here is discount. Discount is very similar to markup, except instead of selling it for an increased price, we're selling it at a discounted price. So let's keep with that car example. Let's say that someone is selling a car for $50,000, but they're going to give us a 20% discount. Alrighty, so same thing, we do our part whole, percent out of 100, and you ask yourself, is that 50,000 how much they're selling the car for, or is it the discounted price? So again, that 50,000 is the whole price of the car, and I am trying to figure out how much I'm going to get off on that car. And I know I'm going to be getting that 20% off out of that 100%. So we cross multiply. 100x, and then 50,000 times 20 is, well, it's a lot of zeros. It's 10 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. So 10, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. That's 1 million. Okay, then you're going to take your calculator. We're going to do our algebra here. We're going to divide by 100, and 1 million divided by 100 is 10,000. So that 10,000 means that basically they're going to give us the car for $10,000 off. So the sales price would be, I would only be paying $40,000 because I would subtract because it's a discount. So depending on what they're asking, are they asking how much am I getting off? If they're asking how much I'm getting off, I'm getting $10,000 off the car, but I'm going to pay $40,000 because I would have to subtract 50,000, or subtract the 10,000 from the 50,000. And if you're doing this just the traditional way with a calculator, you would have done 50,000 times 0.20, and you get $10,000. Okay, So I didn't actually do anything where I pause the video and have you guys answer questions because the Khan Academies are pretty intense. So I just wanted to make sure you had the basics. So that kind of completes our lesson. Go ahead and leave a summary. And if you guys have any questions, you can leave that at the bottom of the lesson as well. All right, guys, I'll see you in class.